had to relearn how to walk, talk, feed myself. I have a scar on my stomach from the G tube to feed me.
Welcome back to Brain, sponsored by Toro and Tides. This is our Handle with Care segment where we share real stories of life-altering moments and the road that follows. Today, I'm sitting down with Kristen Bowman. Kristen is a retired police officer from Colorado who built her life around serving others. In 2023, a horrific car accident changed everything. In an instant, the life she knew was forced into a different direction. But this isn't just a story about what happened. It's about what she's chosen to do next. Kristen is taking something negative and turning it into something positive, finding purpose in the pain and using her experience to help others. This is a conversation about resilience, perspective, and what it looks like to rebuild when life takes an unexpected turn. Kristen, welcome to the
Hey,
show.
thank you.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Happy to have you on the show. We had a preliminary call, which was great. I got to know a lot about you, and I'm so excited for our audience to learn more about you and your story. So why don't we just start from the beginning before this accident happened? Fill us in about who you were.
So, okay, I was born into a military family, so I'm a military brat. Um, so we moved everywhere. I joined the military, and was a humantor, so human intelligence in Washington State. Got out of the military, moved back to Colorado, where the rest of my family is and was. Um, Owned a gym for a little bit, and then I went to do intel on the ops floor, which is like 24/7 operation. So it was the schedule was rough. And then I finally found what I was supposed to do, which was policing.
Okay.
Um, so like personality wise about me, I've always been like determined and motivated to figure out what I'm happy doing and what makes a difference and what makes me feel like even a little thing I do at work makes a big difference to someone or something or whatever. So that was always my goal in finding what I do.
Wow, Kristen. So always, a public servant. You've served our country. Then you were doing Intel, which is so fascinating. I wish I could be sitting in your shoes for a little bit just to see what you got to,
Yeah.
witness or discover. That's amazing. And then you choose to be a police officer. You just love serving the public. Let's talk about that role as a police officer. How long were you on the force before this car accident?
So I'm a 21 batch. So I came on in 2021, and the car accident was uh, halfway through 2023. I, like I said, like that, I found that career that called to me, and it was so short-lived. So, I retired last August, so it lasted a little longer than when I was in the accident, um, but by no means was I a 22-year-old joining the police force. I've done things in the past, so I was okay knowing that I didn't just one and only career wasn't just taken away from me.
hmm So just for a better understanding for our audience, you joined the military at 18?
No, no, no. Shoot. Um, I probably joined the military at 23, 23, I think, 24 maybe,
Okay. And then
something
how
like
long were
that.
you in the military?
Uh, 5 years, the typical, or 4 years, and then two inactive or whatever. So
Okay. So okay,
yeah,
from there, then you open up your own gym and
yeah,
then
yeah.
okay, or and when I say that you start flexing the guns, come on, chill out, Kristen. Holy cow.
I didn't mean to.
Okay. That's hilarious. Okay, so now we go to this, we become a police officer. You said 21, 2021. And
Yes.
then halfway through 2023 is when that accident happened. So you were on the force, but 2.5 years?
Yeah.
Wow, very, very short-lived. Let's
Yes.
walk through that day. What do you remember much from that day when the accident happened?
So the interesting thing is, so my neurodocs, they told me I will never remember the accident or a month or two on either side because it's a brain, like they don't really know exactly what it's gonna do. Um, and I actually told them that if regardless of the timeline that they said, if a memory is paired with a strong emotion, I remember it. So, for example, the closest memory to the crash that I have is um, I was so it was right after a call, and I was heading to the house, my old home, to get my work phone that I forgot, which is why I was out of the city at the time anyway. And my sergeant told me to just take a patrol car up there and then come back and hit the streets from there. So in a patrol car, went up, got my phone, was heading back, and what the fuck was I just saying? This is part of the brain injury that I'm just like,
I love it. I say I love it because I live it and I get it.
I hate
Uh,
it.
I know it's so frustrating, but I was with you. You said you went and got your phone. You were in a patrol car and then you were on your way back to the station when the accident happened.
Yes. Well, okay. What was your original question? Like, why was I explaining that?
We talked about the event, what happened that day, what you
Oh,
remember.
okay. So the last thing I remember, like the closest memory to the accident I have, is when I was heading up to my house. So probably like an hour before the accident or so. I had texted my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I'm an idiot. I'm heading back to the house because I forgot my work phone." And he and I were going through, we were like in turmoil at that time. So, like, that was me trying to reach out and say, like, I'm an idiot or whatever, like, get some kind of a conversation going. And because strong emotions were behind that text, I remember it. It was like my
Mm,
doctors are like, they're like, that's crazy.
interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the last memory you have that day.
Yep.
Texting your boyfriend at the time saying, "Hey, I'm coming back to get the phone." And then what's the next memory? And then after that, we'll dive into what witnesses said happened. But do you remember what your next memory was? Was it waking up in the hospital?
So, next memory, like I said, like my memories are so spotty. Like
Mm,
even the ones outside this time frame we're talking about, like they're so spotty. So as weird as it is, because of the strong emotions connection, the the next memory I have is when I was in Craig, and I was like, I mean, I had regained consciousness, I think, by the no, sorry, I was at Lutheran. I had regained consciousness, I think, by this time because I was brought to an ICU or a hospital outside of Denver, and I was a Denver cop, and I was on duty. I had to. So policy is, at least in Denver, you always have to have a door guard. So someone was always assigned, no matter what time of the day it was or night, to watch my door and protect me, pretty much, which is fucking amazing. Like I love that kind of mentality that
mhm.
police officers have.
Wow.
So the memory I have closest to the accident, after the accident, and like I said, like I don't know how coherent I was or anything because I was like unconscious for a long time. Um, every time I would hear a cough or a sneeze or whatever, and it sounded like it was right outside my door, I would feel comfort because I would be like, that is someone I know. That is
Mm,
someone I might be partners with or whatever. Like that's someone who's there for me.
hmm hmm How
And
long?
again, I
So
have no sorry, I have
how
no fucking
long?
idea like how I knew that it was them and like
Hmm.
how awake I was at the time. No idea.
Would you and this might be tough to piece together. Do you know how long this was after the accident?
So I
Days?
was only I was only at Lutheran for 10 days. So my neuro ICU doc, who I still keep in touch with and get coffee with every once in a while, he is good friends with another neuro doc that I had in Craig. So he said, "Hey, I have this patient. This is her diagnosis. Like, what can we do?" So they collaborated and got me into Craig within 10 days, which is insane.
Wow. Is that
Yeah.
because there's usually a wait list to get in there?
Yes. It's a world renowned hospital. It's crazy.
Hmm.
And the fact
Okay.
that I had randomly, like, I had the neuro ICU doc who was the one neuro ICU doc that I know of who was friends with Dr. Spear and Craig. Like, that was just so lucky.
Hmm.
Like everything was, it was a perfect storm kind of. And that's how, like, I'm sure as we discuss this further, like, I often refer to this whole thing as the perfect storm. And I can
Hmm.
definitely explain that more.
Let's dive into this. How do you see it as a perfect storm when we dive into the seconds or the minutes that led up to this accident and this
Yeah.
life-changing event?
Okay. So, as I mentioned before, I was going. So Arvada is the city that I used to live in, and it's northwest of Denver. And so I was going north, and I had got my phone and everything, and I was going back to the station, or back to the district, and I was taking a needed to take a left on a street, right? And the intersection was under construction at the time. I thought I was good. Oncoming thought, or sorry, okay, let me back up. So I had a green light, so I was good to go. I did not have a green arrow, so I knew I had to yield to oncoming traffic. If you watch the video of the accident that I have, the construction truck in that intersection was going at the perfect rate of speed for me not to see oncoming and oncoming not to see me. So we all thought we were clear, right? So I turned, and that's when I got hit. And the crux of the accident was the fucking flagger for that construction company wasn't doing his job.
Hmm.
So again, like, perfect storm.
Oh, so the flagger was responsible for moving traffic safely through this intersection.
Yep.
You see this truck coming, you think you're clear to turn because the rate of speed they were going. When you turned, what were you met with?
So I was met with the first car. They were, and remember, like, this is not in my memory at all. I've talked to accident investigators. I have videos on my phone. Like, I see it from an outsider's perspective. So I didn't know anything. Um, so looking at all the evidence, the first car hit me, but they were doing the reduced speed limit in the construction zone, so they didn't do much damage. Like 1 second later, I was struck at the same. So I was T-boned on the passenger side by both these vehicles. The second one, they did the damage. They were doing 18 over in the construction zone.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so two vehicles on impact. You said the first one, obviously, you're hit, which is a big deal, but the second one did a majority of the damage.
Yeah.
What were you told happened to you inside that vehicle?
So I don't. Okay, I don't know how common knowledge this is or whatever, but I'll explain it. So, police officers don't always wear their seatbelts, especially when they're on patrol, right? the reason for this is because we have all this gear, like radios, handcuff, everything on our vest and belt. If for some reason someone like is running at our car, or, like shooting at our car, and we need to bail immediately, there are high chances of us like not being able to get off our seatbelt and like clear all our stuff and like get out of the car really quick. So I was not wearing a seatbelt at the time. So my the left side of my head hit the driver's side window. For that was first impact. Second impact was I flew across to the passenger side. And do you know what an MDT is?
Mm-mm.
So an MDT is the computer in the cop cars
Mm-hmm.
that is on a big metal stand. So I broke that. So I flew across body, some part of my body broke that. Um, hit the A pillar, so like the part just above the window on the passenger side, and then fell to the floor.
We're going to be taking a quick break right now. Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. Well, that's something I learned from the Brain Injury Clubhouse community. You ever heard of the Brain Injury Clubhouse? Well, neither had I until earlier this year. And from coast to coast, these clubhouses are providing brain injury survivors with vocational training, peer support, and a community. Three things that I had lost after my accident. Right now, Florida only has one of these houses, but we're working to change that. Reach out to me to see how you can help. All right, back to the episode.
I had so many injuries. Holy shit. The
Yeah, let's
TBI is by far the worst, but so many injuries.
let's talk about those injuries. What did you sustain or what did they tell you?
So um I have a or had a sprain in my left knee and my right ankle. Right in my eyebrow, you can't see it. Luckily, it didn't need stitches, but it was like a big cut, and like I really took care of it. And my mom, bless her, she helped take care of it too when I was recovering in the hospital. Um, my I broke two ribs. I broke three transverse processes. Do you know what those are? Like the
Mm-mm.
wings of the spine.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I broke three of the or fractured three of those in the thoracic spine. Um, and then this ear was completely off. Like it was hanging on by a string. And
Oh.
luckily, a plastic surgeon, they called in a plastic surgeon at Lutheran who immediately got my ear back. And like there's no hearing loss. The only scar on it, I have to pull my ear forward and have you look behind my. They did an amazing job.
Mm,
Yeah.
jeez. Okay, so you have multiple broken bones. Your ear is nearly ripped off. You got a laceration on your just over your eyebrow, and then we move up to the brain.
Yeah.
What damage did you sustain to your brain? How bad was the bleeding? What portions of the brain were damaged?
So my diagnosis is a grade 3, so the worst grade of a DAI, diffuse axonal injury. So really it's the shearing of, so okay, the way I kind of explain it to people who have no idea about what it is, and I didn't even know what it was until I got it. Um, okay, if you know shaken baby syndrome, how like the baby is shaken so violently and like their brain smashes around in their skull, that is a DAI. So
Mm.
they're shearing and like smashing and what of the brain. And
So it's I mean I have a DAI as well. It's all
yeah,
encompassing. It's a lot. I mean
yes,
it's the bending and the pulling of this tissue and this I mean our brain is so sensitive and fragile and the inside of our skull is bony and when you get whipped across like you said you hit the window the driver's side window, then you get thrown across to the passenger seat. You got to take into account how much, like the whiplash, where your head's
Oh
moving, your
yeah.
neck's moving, and it's just the brain. Sure, it has that jelly inside that's holding it upright, but it's getting thrown across
Yeah.
that skull and just causes this global damage, which you described so perfectly. Were you, when you were admitted to the hospital, were you intubated? Were you in a coma? Were you still coherent?
So the crazy thing is, and I look, so I already told you I keep in touch with my ICU and other neuro docs. I also keep in touch with quite a few of the firefighters and police officers who showed up on that scene because there were so many. I mean, a Denver cop in Arvada, like that. That's just a huge question. So there was a huge response. Um, And the medics who transported me, I go to their fire station and talk with them and stuff. They first, when I first went there, um, they said, so okay, sorry, I'm like jumping around, but there's so much to say about this stuff. So less than eight intubate. That is what you learn in any like EMT, paramedic class, whatever. If your GCS, so Glasgow Coma Scale, is less than eight, you intubate. Mine was like a six, but they were heads and they were like, okay, she's breathing on her own, she's protecting her airway, don't intubate her. And I swear, if I was intubated, like that would have been even more of a recovery that I would have to do. So
Hmm.
they were smart and were like, her GCS is really low, so we could, by the book, intubate her, but they were like, she's breathing just fine on her own.
Taking a quick pause from today's episode, people have been asking about the hats and shirts that I wear on all of these podcasts. They're also asking where they can find my memoir. You can check everything out over at toroandtides.com. Again, that is toroandtides.com. My memoir, Forgetting to Remember, is also available on Amazon. That dives deeper into my own brain injury recovery journey. Alrighty, back to the episode. So when the accident happened, you said there was a quick response. Within minutes,
Oh
other
yeah.
police officers, other firefighters
Oh
were
yeah.
there to render aid.
Oh yeah. There were so many jurisdictions. So we had Arvada, obviously, because it was in their jurisdiction. Denver, our motorcycle cops, they flew up here, or up there. Wheat Ridge and like two other ones that I can't remember. I obviously I haven't met them or anything. And they just had a small part in the crash, but
Mhm.
everyone went to the crash because they were like, so a Denver police officer crashed in Arvada, and the dispatch call, because okay, so people who call in 911 are not like they're very dramatic, right? And like they don't like, you never take what they say for like certain, like there's always something else going on, whether it's more serious or less serious. So one of the 911 callers said they're doing CPR. And so that's what came over the radio, is they're doing CPR.
Hmm.
And looking back, it's like, okay, two things. You're not doing CPR. Thank God I didn't need CPR because my vest was still on. And you're doing compressions with the bulletproof vest on. Like, that's not going to work.
Mhm.
So thank God I didn't need it. And you never, ever move someone from a car crash. There are so many spinal issues that could happen. Um, And if you're not a professional and don't know how to like work the body to make it safe, you don't do that. So I also say thank God I didn't have any spinal issues because I was just dragged out of the car.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
thankfully, I mean, thankfully, you had quick response to the
Yes.
accident. You're
Yes.
transported to the hospital. They're able to work on you with, great surgeons. When that clarity starts to come in, what was the severity of the diffused axonal injury? Of course, that's a very severe injury to the brain, but what did you notice was different, Kristen, before the accident to Kristen when you're coming to?
Oh, I don't even remember. So, with you, did you say you have a DI as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So, were you in PTA?
Physical therapy?
No, post-traumatic amnesia?
Uh, oh, I mean, I don't really remember much of
Yeah.
anything when I was in, I mean, the high, acute therapy, right? Went like inpatient acute, briefly, little blips of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really start remembering. I mean, I still struggle with my short-term memory, probably a couple months after the accident. How
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah. So, mine, okay, PTA, I often say like the way I describe PTA to people who might not know what it is, in the movie 50 First Dates with like Cameron Diaz and stuff, I always say, 10-second Tom.
Yes.
That's a real thing, dude. Like 10 seconds, clear slate. You had no idea what you were doing. So I was talking to my neuropsych. This was like pretty much when I was already discharged. And I was just asking him, I was like, what is the normal time frame for PTA, for patients to be in PTA? And he's like, for severe injuries, about a week. And he's like, yours was so severe, you were in it for 6 weeks.
Wow.
He was like, we were getting concerned.
Gee. So this is, you spent over 6 weeks in the hospital then.
So, okay, so Lutheran 10 days, Craig 2 months inpatient. I had to relearn how to walk, talk, feed myself. I have a scar on my stomach from the G tube to feed me. Um, and then after Craig, it was my decision. Like they all said, it's your choice to go or not. My decision to go to a transitional living facility. Pretty much, it's right by Craig.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically your full-time job is therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I was like, hell yeah. Like, why would I ever say no to that? It's just getting me better and better, right? And so I was there for about 4 months. And then I had outpatient at Craig for about 5 months after that. So it was a long recovery.
And I mean, I've talked about this on the show too. I mean, I feel like recovery is continuous for individuals with brain injuries.
Yeah. Even
And
even my neurodoc said, like, considering your severity of your injury, we give it 2 years before you meet the new normal, which I always bitched at them for saying new normal. So I was like,
uh-huh.
no, I'm going to be the same, right? Like,
Mhm.
so, but they've said even after 2 years, your brain is consistently healing itself and rerouting itself. Like
Mhm.
it's just an amazing thing, and I never knew anything about it before.
Isn't that so interesting?
It's
I was taking a note when you said this where you were not aware of it
yeah,
before this happened to you, right? I mean, I heard of concussions, in football and sports that I played soccer when I played in high school, but I used to be a journalist. I worked for ABC as a reporter and anchor, and I would cover brain injuries, traumatic brain injuries. But they'd leave the hospital, and I would be like, okay, they're healed. And I never thought about it twice,
right.
right? But now living it and hearing you say this as well, it's like, golly, I wish, I mean, God, if you wanted to teach me what brain injuries were, I would have just picked up a book. Don't make me live with
Like
this.
this is enough. Like what did I do to deserve this?
Wow. But I mean, you talk about, I mean, what an unfortunate situation for the both of us, right? But a caveat to that is you're doing something positive. And
Yeah.
before we dive into that, I do want to expand a little bit more on these injuries that you sustained. I mean, you kind of glossed over it, which shows the type of person you are, Kristen. I know you're a badass, like you're so strong mentally and physically tough, but you had to relearn how to walk, talk,
Yeah.
and feed yourself. That's a big feat in itself. Let's go through that progression. What came first, or was it, simultaneously you're doing step by step? What Let's talk about those breakthroughs and what physical therapy looked like, speech therapy looked like. I mean, and even I can't imagine relearning how to feed yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about these months of this hard work that you did.
So the amazing thing is my whole family, and it's funny because I used to make fun of them if they wanted to like record everything and take so many pictures. And I was like, fucking why, right? Like, but I'm so thankful that they did that, like during my whole recovery, because if they hadn't, and like I didn't have videos or pictures or anything, I would have no idea what I went through and like what we did with this. Like, how
Mm,
did you learn how to walk? I would have no idea. So, um, the obviously the first thing was probably my guess would be the G tube because I needed to eat.
hmm
Um, when did I start? I mean, for sure, Craig is because I was so lucky to get going to Craig, and that it's here, like local.
hmm
But Craig is where I learned how to walk, talk,
mm,
everything. It's so they. I'm trying to remember what I've seen and what I've heard. I think it was just like gradual. So like it was just crawl, walk, run. Like that's how
hmm
you learn things, and
Right.
that is how I feel I relearned how to walk, talk, everything. Because in my videos on my phone, you see a progression. So
Mm,
you see in the beginning when all I could do was grunt or moan or whatever, try to communicate like that.
mm.
Um, with walking, I was such a shit. So it's just my personality. So I would so at Craig they have this thing called a posy belt. Did you ever use one?
Is that where I mean they put it around your waist and they hold on to you so you don't fall?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I fucking hated it. I was like,
Right.
no. And so so at first I learned how to walk um by I don't think this is the first step, but this is the first step I have in my phone in my videos. They took a shopping cart and filled it with weights. So
Okay.
I could put my weight on the cart and walk that way.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, water aerobics or water therapy is
hmm
was another big one. Because obviously it took weight and balance, I think, out of it
hmm
because you're in the water. And just like getting used to using those muscles again.
hmm
Um, what else?
Did you ever have to use a walker or a cane?
So I was in a wheelchair for a while before I even tried walking.
Okay.
Um, and the funny thing is, because I told you that I was a pain in the ass when when I was trying to learn how to walk again, and I hated the posy belt and stuff.
hmm
So they, in the very beginning, like when I first got to Craig, so I don't remember anything like this. I was very I was a bed swimmer, is what they call it. Like apparently, like I hated just laying in a hospital bed not doing anything. So I would always like kick a leg out or like whatever, right? So
hmm
like they were starting to get frustrated because or concerned because they were like, dude, what if she like tries to stand up out of the bed and we're not there? Because my brain didn't know I couldn't walk, didn't know I
hmm
couldn't talk. Like I didn't know any of that, right? So like there was nothing telling me don't try, And so they put me in a posy bed, which I fucking hate that thing. Do you know what a posy bed is?
Is that where it's kind of got like a veil over you?
Net, yep. A net that
Yeah.
you cannot open from the inside. So it's
Hmm.
like a prison in a bed. I fucking hated that thing. So they put me in a posy bed. So I had to be in a posy bed when no one was in their own room with me, like when I was sleeping or whatever. And during my discharge conference with my inpatient doctor and care a medical team, I s- I go because they knew I hated the posy bed. I was like, Doc, do you know what I used to do when no one was in the room with me? And he was like, what? And I was like, I used to look for weaknesses in the netting. And he was like, what was your plan if you had gone out? And I told him, I was like, look, dog, I didn't know I couldn't walk out, eat shit,
Hmm.
and then I would have to recourse, okay?
Roll,
You
baby.
can't plan everything. You have to adapt.
That's that military training in you, you know?
Yes.
So in this moment, right, you're not aware that you can't walk, right? You're
Yeah.
talking about wanting to break out. Were you unaware that you couldn't speak either? Did you think you were, formulating words or sentences?
I don't think any of it was um really logical. Like I can't tell you I would be like, yeah, I don't think any thought that I've had was linear at all. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think there was so much chaos going on in my
Hmm.
brain. It was just everywhere, all over
Yeah.
the place. So
Yeah.
I often describe my state as I went back to infancy. As a
Hmm.
34-year-old woman, I went back to infancy because
Mm,
I couldn't form a sentence. I couldn't tell you what I wanted. I couldn't walk. I couldn't eat or anything.
mm. When would you say your mobility came back? Was that a year after, 6 months after?
Mobility as far as before the crash?
No, no, no,
Or
no, no, no. After the crash, right? Where you said you weren't able to walk.
oh yeah,
Like you
so
had.
yeah. So just walking, I definitely relearned to walk in Craig when I was there. So within the 2 months.
Hmm.
Um, again, I don't remember the exact. Oh, it was exactly a month of
Right.
being. I have no idea. But I mean, I then versus now. So
Hmm.
okay, when I first learned to walk, I had a little bit of a limp, and it's so funny because it's not because I was in pain. It's because, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but when you injure a certain side of your head, because mine was first injured on the left, so that was the biggest injury part.
Hmm.
Because the brain is cross body, my entire right side, literally, if you draw a line down midline, it's a different sensation. Like even to this day, like
Hmm.
totally different, right? And when I was learning to walk, I had a limp because I had no input from my brain or from my foot to my brain telling
Mm.
me that I'm okay, that I'm set. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I always had to like watch what I was doing.
So you have no sensation on the
I,
on the right side?
I do now. When
Okay.
I crashed, it went from completely numb to now it's like it was like a progression to now being like, okay, when you you sit on your something falls
You fall
asleep.
asleep? Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's not the tingly feeling, like the really like annoying tingly feeling. It's like a muted, super muted version of that.
Interesting. And
So
today
it's not like
you still have that today?
yes, yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah.
now you brought that up. I'm looking at you right now, Kristen, and you got your whole sleeve on the other side. Why wouldn't you do the side that was tingly?
Dude, I don't fucking know because I look okay. I didn't say I'm smart in this. I said I recovered well.
Okay, let Well, okay, speaking of that, you're so well spoken. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your ability to speak coming back. How long did that take? Is this like months, years?
So it is still happening. Like, I mean, so I don't notice big things very often because the healing has slowed, but it is continuous, like we talked about. But I will notice, okay, it's easier for me to say this today
Hmm,
than it has been in ever since the accident, right?
interesting.
And then I'll see people at work or whatever, like back at this station, who hasn't seen me in months, and they're like, "Dude, your speech is so much better." So
Wow.
yeah, so it's continuously improving as well as, um, so when I was in PTA, honestly, is what I say, and I was learning how to talk and like kind of moaning a little bit, whatever. My even my tone of voice was totally different. So like
Mm,
I sounded so much lower pitch,
mm,
very monotone, no inflection or anything in the voice. Um, Finally, probably within the last 3 months or so, I feel like I sound like my voice has the same pitch back. Like it's
whoa.
so crazy. Like how different, like, and if you just have to pay attention and like notice these things,
Hmm.
and it will blow your mind. It's crazy.
Hmm. So you feel like in these last couple months, years, you feel like you're kind of coming back to that voice you had
Yes.
pre-accident.
Yes. Yeah.
When you say, I mean, your voice, I would not be able to tell. And that, I mean, I don't know if that's a compliment to you or frustrating for you. We're like, damn, man, I worked really hard to get this. But it's when you say some days it's easier to say this word versus this word. Do you have aphasia as well, where you know what it is, but you can't say it,
Yeah.
or is it stuttering, or is it what? What are the complications that come with the speaking for you?
So again, like I keep saying, like it is continuously getting better and better. So I used to have aphasia pretty bad. Like I would know what I want to say, but I couldn't find the word to say it. Like it
Mm,
just wasn't popping up in my head. Now, I mean, every maybe like a couple times a week, I'll be like, shit, what is that word? And then
mm-hmm,
I'll finally figure out what it is,
mm-hmm,
but it's very rare. But that has continuously gotten better.
mm, mm. I think so. I didn't have to relearn to speak. I've kept the same inflection and tone, and I'm very fortunate for that. But I will say, when the pain's really bad and as the day drags on, the word finding gets more difficult for me, or I'll start to stutter more. And it's so interesting where you're pointing at me. Does that happen with you as well?
Yeah, because I mean, myself included, but everyone says, I know when you're getting tired because your speech gets a little worse. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's what it is. It's the fatigue. Like
Yep.
our brains don't have the same capacity
Mm-hmm.
stuff. There's that word finding thing again
Mm-hmm.
for simulation that it used to have.
Hmm. I heard,
So,
I've been doing, I obviously I love researching about the brain now, or like little fun facts and stuff. And I hear the individuals with brain injuries now, their brain's working like 3 times harder than the typical brain, which means our brain's battery depletes so much quicker. And I mean, that's why I rely on naps and just taking like those mental breaks, whether that's like watching The Office or mindless stuff to really recharge is not the correct word because I never recharge, but it's just it's so frustrating. I mean, how do you navigate this fatigue? What do you do? How do you slow down or kind of protect yourself from reaching that breaking point?
so what's funny, kind of kind of irritating is my whole life I have never been able to nap. I hate them. I even hated them as a kid. Like, no.
Mhm.
And to this day, like, I mean, I can count on one hand how many naps I've taken in the last 10 years.
You're crazy. Insane.
It has to be perfect, like, the perfect everything, perfect temperature,
Hmm.
perfect day, like everything. So I don't rely on naps. Usually what I try to do is plan my days accordingly. So if I know by 4 p.m. I'm normally toast, I will try to make everything done by 4, and then I can just chill and hang out and do that stuff.
I really have a tough time, and I think it's like my competitive nature from growing up, like as the younger brother or the athletics, where it's really tough for me to pull back and rest when my brain and body is telling me to do so. Do you find yourself struggling with this as well?
No, you have to look at it like a job. Like,
Come on,
you just
Kristen, why are you
have
making me feel bad? Look at this.
to.
Star example of life with a brain injury right here. Kristen, folks, if you have a brain injury, you should be taking notes from her, not from me. She's going to be taking this brain to brain job here because she's doling out wisdom and I'm suffering over here. When you compare life pre-accident to life now, um, what challenges are you facing on a day-to-day basis that was never present before the accident?
So I so the main two things that I still struggle with, and so okay, let me back up. So my goal ever since the injury, like when I came to and was like coherent about what was going on, is to make it so that unless I've told you about what happened or you knew me before, and obviously you know, if you meet me now, you have no idea, right? Like that is my goal.
Mm,
So the only things that I have, and of course I've always been really good at compensatory strategies. So obviously, like there's not really too much you can do for a speech. It just is what it is. I mean, there's practice that I still have a notebook of like speech sound practice that I got during outpatient. So I called it like my homework. So I still have that, and every once in a while, I'll like go through that and see how I'm getting. Um, the other thing for memory is I live by my calendar. If
hmm
I were to lose my phone, I'd be so fucked.
mm,
I feel
mm,
like I have no idea what I did yesterday. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I have no idea.
mm.
So
So you have really bad short-term
I,
memory.
yes, I do. Yep.
Okay, we're one and the
But
same there, sister.
I know it's rough. It's a rough life. It's
But you're
like,
so
hey,
you do you
what'd you
take a lot
do?
of notes, or you said you live and die by the calendar in your phone?
That calendar. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, someone could be like, hey, what'd you do yesterday? I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. Let me look. Let
Like,
me see and
don't
I'll
ask
tell
that
you.
question. Do
Yes.
you do you notice? I also notice this when the days are tough with my migraines and headaches. I'll forget what I had done that morning. Do you see it disappearing that quickly?
Sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah. But most
Um,
okay. So let's put you on the spot. What did you do yesterday?
oh fuck. All right, what's today? Tuesday? No idea.
Stop cheating. Don't look at your watch. No, I know.
I'm
No.
looking
That's
at
that's
the thing.
no, that's unfair. Yeah, honestly, I hate that too because it is
Yeah,
frustrating and it's annoying and like people will be like, well, don't you remember? Do you know who
I
you're
know
talking
I
to?
need a workout. Other than that, I have no idea.
Same. I think it's bittersweet for me. That's how I like to compare. Because look, we do something stupid yesterday. Today, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's
Well, and
fine.
you know what's funny? I always say that the thing that I like to focus on, and I think anyone should focus on, like with whatever they're going through, is silver linings.
Hmm.
So the silver lining for me of having memory issues, if I have a bad encounter with someone or I don't like someone or dating, whatever, if I go on a date with someone and I didn't like them, I'm not gonna remember it in a couple days.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But okay, silver lining. That's a great silver lining. But what if you
Yeah,
end up texting that person again because you forgot you didn't like them?
note in your phone.
You said notes in your phone, so you don't. Do you copy and paste a
No.
picture in there too to ensure like you're like do not respond?
So no, you know what I do? I go into my phone, and if their contact is saved under like just their name or whatever,
Hmm.
I'll put in parentheses asshole or something so that
Or
I know.
parentheses, bad first date, do not respond call. That's so
Yes,
funny.
yes.
Those are good
Or like,
compensatory
do not
skills.
text back.
That's amazing. Man, what a great approach. I'm dating a wonderful woman now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But that I do remember sometimes putting notes in, even with like buddies that I met, guys, where it's like this guy sucks. Don't hang out with him again. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God. But
yeah,
I'm glad you have those little tricks to help you throughout the day. Now we're talking about silver
yeah.
lining. You have turned something negative into something very positive, and we met through a mutual friend who's actually was on this show as well. What are you doing now? Because you're no longer on the police force, you've retired. Were you technically
Right.
medically retired because of the accident?
Yes. So I'm the I have a few things in this, like as far as like the department, like as far as like payouts and things like that. But I mean I like right now I don't if a job opportunity comes at me and I'm interested, I will 100% take it, right? The only issue or caveat to that would be because I'm paid retirement by the FPPA, which is the Fire and Police Pension Association,
Hmm.
because I retired for medical reasons as a cop, I'm not allowed to mirror law enforcement at all. So,
Hmm.
like for example, if there was like a armed security guard, couldn't do it because it
Okay.
it mirrors police pretty close. So, um, yeah, I'm open to any job, but I'm very lucky in that I can be very picky with what I
Mm.
want and what I will do. Um, other than that, I work with Carrie, and do her like peer mentor stuff.
Hmm.
So that's fun, because you get to just talk to other brain injury survivors.
Yeah, let's dive into
And
that
even though
because I
like
think it's so selfless of you, right? Where you mentioned you
yeah,
can be very picky with job
yeah,
opportunities that come your way. You you've always been a servant to the community, which I think is so cool for you, Kristen. And now you're living this life with a brain injury. And now you're mentoring other individuals where you're holding space for them to air out their grievances or their frustrations. Why? Why are you doing that? Yeah, I mean, it could be so easy for you to, run away from this. You talk about how you like for people that don't know you before, you don't want them to know you have a brain injury, which is awesome that you can pull that off. That's so cool. Um, but now you're still diving back into the brain injury society, which is weird to say, right? Where it's like, you know what? But I want to help those in similar situations as me.
yeah. Honestly, the way I approach it is you can't change the past, right? Like I can't change the fact that I have this injury and like um I don't know, the way I look at it is embrace it. If you can't change it, embrace it because it's way better to embrace something and make it positive than be depressed and mad about
Mm,
something you can't change. Um, so that's one reason that I am working with Carrie. Um, The other reason is that it is a sense of community community in a way. Like, I mean, granted, every single brain injury is different. The like thumbprint or fingerprints, there's no two the same. Um, but I mean, I have way more in common with someone who was injured versus someone who's never had a bad injury, like
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
much more in common.
Mm.
And I'm like, this is good for me and for them.
Hmm. Do you do you bring that into those sessions? Because you do, it's a peer support group, right? Where you're sitting down with two, three, maybe four individuals. You're all sharing that collective experience. Is this the kind of wisdom that you're showering them with, where it's like, hey, you can't change the past, but let's make it the best we can now with what we're given?
Absolutely, yeah. The thing, so I have like I don't even know, like an outline of different topics that I can bring up during these peer mentor sessions. But honestly, the way I like to run it is I'll open it up and be like, "Hey, how was you guys' last week? Did anything come up for you or whatever?" And so I kind of call it like a productive vent session for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk if they want to vent about their parents or whatever, like fine. I always try to I always give whatever advice I have based on my experience. And I always say that, like, you guys can either take this advice or say, like, hey, it works for you. I don't think it's going to work for me, which is
Mm,
fine. I make it very, this isn't like whatever I say is, like not like that at all. We're more like a team.
mm. That's a great way to look at it, a team mentality, right? Where we're all in this together, and
Yeah.
there's overlapping stuff, the similar frustrations. Now, I want to flip this on you, Kristen. Okay, you
Okay.
talk about once a week a productive vent session. I'm sure you're just the sounding board. You're hearing it, right? How often do you get
Yeah.
to vent in these sessions?
Oh, I don't hold back. Like, I'll
Ah,
drop
darn it. I was
so
hoping you
many
would so
F-bombs.
you could vent to us right now. You could air out your grievances. I mean, I think that'd be helpful for the audience, right? I mean, even me just listening to you now, it's like, damn, this woman's got to figure it out. Like
Yeah.
it's sunshine and rainbows over there. What is when you
Did
do
you
have
ever hear? Sorry, did you ever hear? We say this all the time on the force. Fake confidence is confidence. You have like there were so many calls like we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we act like we're doing. We
mhm.
act like we know what we're doing, and we're gonna figure it out. But you're never gonna know. We're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you just broke that facade then. We know this whole conversation has been fake confidence. Oh my gosh, Kristen, it's been such a pleasure having you on this show. I always let my guests close out the show with words of wisdom or support or advice for the brain injury community. What would you like to say to them right now?
I so honestly like be stubborn, be motivated. Don't settle for anything less than what you want in your recovery, in your home life, whatever that is. Um, don't fall short of your goal for yourself. Do not fall short and just settle for that. Like, don't be like, oh, that's good enough because it's not. Until you make it to what you want, don't keep working. Keep working.
Mm. Great advice from Kristen. Y'all listen to her. Do not settle. Keep working hard. Every day is a new opportunity for you. Kristen, thank you so much for joining me on Brain to Brain. It's been a pleasure. We will catch y'all on the next episode.